And we have someone that we brought in. Our mama. Our mama. Justice! She's going to be for this topic. She's going to be the one addressing this. The theme of this main event. So you know that she's really our mama. So without further ado, she is the head of cybercrime unit at the Federal Ministry of Justice. Hey, see, you should just be clapping as I'm talking. Just be clapping. She serves as Nigeria's representative to the TCY, hey, Budapest Convention on Cybercrime Committee. You're not clapping, no. TCY Bureau member, the national coordinator of the Global Action on the Cybercrime Enhanced, a Council of Europe's project, and many others. Hey, God. She has led a number of initiatives, which includes the establishment of a joint case team on the cybercrime by the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to strengthen interagency collaboration in combating cybercrime. The establishment of a national counter-ransomware initiative coordination team by the National Security Advisor, and many more amazing achievements. Please, clap, 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 clap. Let's welcome Mrs. Jamila Akaaga Ade.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So, to our esteemed guests, like really very distinguished participants, industry leaders, luminaries, and most importantly, the brilliant, passionate, energetic, innovative, trailblazing young minds of Africa. A very good morning to you all. Honestly, it's a great pleasure standing before you this morning. You know, when I first of all got this invite, I was asking myself, will this be one of those events where I would have to come all formal, all serious, and catalog the achievements of my unit or speak with the voice of my boss? And I began to imagine, okay, well, it's kind of usual. But then something in me struck when I got the theme. And I'm like, oh yes, this is something different. And I was excited, first of all, that I was going to have the privilege of dressing down, not in suits, not in high heels, not looking all serious. And I must say that it's a great pleasure. Thank you very much to the team for this great outing. It is really exciting to look at the hall so full. I learned yesterday it was overflowing, and I'm sure even the team underestimated their capacity. That is to say, what youth can do, you cannot imagine. So you can actually imagine what it is and then think out of it, go out of the box, and you're still not able to comprehend what you can drive if we come together as a force. So one request before I proceed, please. Don't expect some serious presentation. My role is very simple this morning, just to set the tone. So I will start by quoting the words of Robert F. Kennedy, which says, every generation inherits a world it never made. And as it does so, it automatically becomes the trustee of that world for those who come after. And in due course, each generation makes its own accounting to its children. So as we gather here this morning at the African Cyberfest 2024, it is a testament, indeed, of our recognition of our responsibility to our generation and the ones to come. Like I said earlier, I'm super encouraged by the numbers from yesterday and even today. I must say that you are indeed the torchbearers. Can you tell your neighbor, I am a torchbearer? I am a torchbearer. All right, so allow me to get into a bit of numbers and research findings. A 2022 official cybercrime report by the Cybersecurity Ventures states that cybercrime was expected to cost the world $8 trillion US dollars, which if measured as a country, right, would have been the third largest world economy next to US and China. Also that this was expected to increase by 15% yearly. So that's to say that by 2025, this would have surged to 10.5 trillion US dollars. And another research shows that by 2025, Africa is expected to account for 57% of the world's population, with its over 50% being young people. I will need you to put this side by side, the jobs in the market, and what this category of persons can possibly resort to as a means of livelihood. I imagine that a large number of this would have to move into informal sectors, which has little or no security, or then create their own job based on their skill set. Impulsivity, defined by an online dictionary as the quality of being easily swayed by emotional or involuntary urges or by momentary desires without weighing them rationally. And also risk-taking behavior. Sorry, I think I missed something. Let me take it again. It is the quality of being easily swayed by emotional or involuntary urges or by momentary desires without weighing them rationally. So impulsive behavior and risk-taking behavior surges through teenage years. It increases. Because imagine, I think I was reading and I heard of someone, I think even Mr. Shola, I'm not sure if I got the name right, yes. He spoke about a 14-year-old. That's a teenager that was involved in cybercrimes. So imagine what possibly could that young boy be looking for? You know, I've heard of a young boy who hacked the school system just to get answers to an assignment. Excuse me. Like really, at one point, young people were on the receiving end as victims of cybercrimes. But now, we have us both on perpetrators and victims. Another research in Europe shows that about 2/3 of the youth were involved in some form of cybercrime or online risk-taking behavior. To the extent that some of these low-level ones are even normalized and they are not seen as anything so serious. Now let's come down to Nigeria. There have been an increase in arrests and convictions by the EFCC almost daily when you look at their the handle on social media telling you they have been arrested in doubles, triples, like multiples. 2s, 10 people, 10 young people arrested in Benin, 20 in Lagos, you know, and all of that. That's the numbers, and you're counting them in numbers, who have been involved in various criminalities. We have the word Yahoo, right? And these young people have now moved, like this crime has really evolved, it has transformed with technology. And the scary part of it, which I learned lately, is the fact that there is now a diabolical side to it, which is called the Yahoo Plus. and membership of these cults is also trans-border. Just the same way that I'm a member of Living Faith Church, for example. You have Living Faith Church in Ghana, you have another one, you know. Whether you come down to Islam, you have one practice here and then another yet, but then it's a brotherhood. So this kind of makes it really complex to deal. And law enforcement has consistently or continually confirmed that people involved in some of these crimes are actually really smart, tech savvy. You know, I was listening lately about, I think the statement that the EFCC chairman made about a young boy, also, you know, who was able to get into his system or so, you know, and all of that. So, like, you can really see that they are not dullards. They are not people who just don't know nothing. But then we are really very smart people, but then it's the application of this smartness. Now, getting down to the theme of the day and the theme of the conference, a youth-focused approach to tackling cybercrime. It's important for me at this point to actually just highlight a few definitions which would help us. Just like I said, I'm here to just set the tone. That's my simple assignment. There is no universally agreed definition of cybercrimes, but then we can take it in twos. You can see it as a cyber-dependent or cyber-enabled, where you have one, which is the cyber-dependent one, as pure cybercrimes, which can only be committed by the use of computer systems or networks. For example, ransomware. And that's really the scary one, and the one which is on the rise. We may not have really experienced much of it in Africa, but I tell you, it's global. And it's crossing borders very fast. Really very fast. And so the earlier we get resilient to it, the better it is for us. So, and then the other part of it, which is cyber-enabled, will just be the normal, the usual traditional crimes which you have further enabled by the use of these computer systems or networks. For example, child sexual exploitation. You have scams, you have identity theft and all of that. They are all traditional crimes which are already covered under some existing legislations. But then they are being further enabled by the use of technology. I put up a post yesterday on LinkedIn and I was asking, some of us may wonder, I think it was Frank who also said he's a youth, right? And some of us laughed. So yes, I'm also part of it. It doesn't really matter what age you think is the brackets, the youthful bracket. Charles, are you a youth or not? You're an old man. All right, so there's also no universally agreed definition of who youth is. But then for statistical purposes, I found in the United Nations some instruments that have used age to kind of classify it. Some say 15 to 24, some say 15 to 32, like the one on African Union Charter extends it to 35. And it defines it without prejudice to other definitions. Stating also that the easiest way to define this group is by age in relation to education and employment. Please help me underline these words in your brain. In relation to education and employment, because youth is often referred to as a person between the ages of leaving compulsory education and finding their first job. Now my question is this. If this is a definition, and we know the number of unemployed youth that we have in Nigeria, so that means the definition of youth can reach 50 or even 40 something, because we have many people who have finished school now and there's no job. They've not landed their first job. And if this is actually what inspires this definition, that they are being defined in relation to education and employment, that period that gets them into their first job after education, there are many who really do not even have access to this education, or those who have got the access, but then it's not making any it's not making any ends meet for them. It's not even being a source of livelihood. They are still in the informal sector. My question then is, what happens to this group of people? Well, we can shelve that discussion for another day. I would like to reflect a little on the uniqueness of this group of people, though. And take it that the definition of youth is flexible, so it depends on what you think. One thing I know and I can say is that this category of persons have the ability to question, to analyze, to interpret, to evaluate, and to make judgment about what they read, what they hear, what they say, or they write. This means they can challenge the status quo. They can see things and challenge it, question it, and demand certain changes. I remember the NSAS protest. How many of us remember it? I'm sure many of us who are here in Lagos, it's still very bright and clear in your brains. Some of us just watched from afar, but we also got the heat somehow. They have a discerning ability. They are critical thinkers. And that's you. That's I. They have the ability to infuse fresh perspectives to issues. They are innovators. I look at the ages of some of these real great innovators. Steve Jobs was said to be 21 years. Mark Zuckerberg, 20 when he had the first version of Facebook. Bill Gates was 21. Elon Musk was 24. Fresh perspectives to issues, problem solvers. They are change makers and drivers. Wasn't the video on SciSurge really inspiring? And even the session of the journey they've gone on so far and where they are today. It's interesting to note that a toddler organization can achieve this much, can gather us all from different works of life, and still get everyone with this passion seated. That's to tell you the force that this group of people have. They are a major source for sustainable development. And what is sustainable development? Development today that does not interfere with the ability of tomorrow's generation to be able to also meet their own needs. So when armed with the necessary skills and opportunities, I must say again that they are trailblazers. They are a force to reckon with. They can easily mobilize themselves. Again, I say, look at this Cyberfest. It's interesting. One publication reads, with political commitment and adequate resources, channeled right, that was my own addition, young people have the potential to make the most effective transformation of the world into a better place. And I tell you, seated this morning, that you have the potential to make the most effective transformation of this very world that we live in into a better place for all. Two more things. They are easy communicators. They understand themselves and can easily speak to each other. Generational gap can be really very interesting. You can sit with a group of teenagers and they will sell you. They are communicating and you have no idea what they are talking about. And some of us are able to still do that with our parents, and they are still discussing. You just want to switch level and you do it and they have no clue as to what was just concluded. And that happens. So easy communicators, they're able to communicate. And that's why I believe that the team behind the Africa Cyberfest was able to really get everyone seated here. To think that these tickets were bought, the one that was free had a zero attendance. And this one that you had to pay money, just look at it. Anyway. All right. And they are leaders, the future. So why then do we have the numbers that was earlier mentioned among the youth, reflecting both as victims and perpetrators of cybercrime? It's very important to ask this question because that's what would define or help design effective interventions when you even talk about having a youth-focused approach to tackling cybercrimes. And I know that as Africans, and it may not be actually Africa-specific, but then we're very reactionary rather than precautionary when it comes to dealing with issues. A lot of times we deal with symptoms and ignore the root causes, so we keep taking drugs, but then the real root is not being dealt with. So a focus on systems, for example, on the symptoms, for example, will be arrests and prosecutions. And that's why maybe the EFCC will keep arresting and arresting. The numbers keep going higher and higher. Yet, you're not having a reduced number when it comes to those who are involved in it. Just like you said, that was really scary. Stop 10 young people, and you have 8 out of those 10 people having something incriminating in their phones. It's scary. That's to tell you that numbers are really high, All right. The increase can be attributed to the following. Low barriers to entry. You don't need much to enter the field of cybercrime. It really doesn't need anything much. You don't even need to mask yourself or anything. Just have the tools and you're up there. Emerging tech equals to emerging crimes. There's no contact. You don't know who it is that is behind it. Anonymity. And then those who are tech savvy are frustrated because there's nowhere to apply it. So they're applying it wrongly. The wrong application of skills. This one, I'm sure all of us will nod our head. The endemic corruption. And we are quick to point that as the problem, And then the risk-taking and inquisitiveness of the youth. Lack of awareness on criminalized conducts. And that's why it's really important, because sometimes it's ignorance that actually leads to it. So you don't know, and then it's just as simple as sharing that, what's the name of that school that was here in Lagos? Chrisland or so, sharing those images of the young girl and all of that. That's wrong. And you're sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing and moving. Lack of awareness. But then ignorance is not what? Okay, now. And then we have family ties and pressures to give back to parents who have labored in the past or to support siblings. I was so shocked that I learned that there are associations of Yahoo mothers. Association of Yahoo mothers also. Honestly, like that was scary. Like, excuse me, like, I can't even imagine. I'm a mother, right? But then I can't even imagine, like, mothers now gather themselves. Association of Yahoo mothers. That's pride in degraded values and morals. Do you understand how much it has sunk? Like, our values and morals have really gone that bad. That people, mothers, respectable, in quotes, can stand and say, yes, this is the association. My son is a Yahoo. Maybe the ones that their children are advanced. No, mine is Yahoo Plus. God forbid it. He operates on a higher frequency. His own is not the normal one. Okay. And you know, one of the things also is that these young people also are now pressured to give back. For some, it comes like, do you know how much I invested in your education? You have to work hard so that you sponsor your younger ones. I've done my own bit. I only sponsor the first child. All the rest are on you. And the child takes it on. So some of these ties and pressures are really complicating the situation. So you would find sometimes that some of these young criminals who are being arrested and prosecuted actually have been helped by some parents and siblings. Even for those who are outside, you find links back home. The parental authority doesn't question, or even the religious authorities also don't question the source of wealth. I pay my tithes and no one is really interested where that source of money is. All that the religious leader may be after is that I help the church pause, you know? Anyway, it is well. And then someone spoke about hush puppy, you know? So that show of wealth makes it really attractive, makes criminality attractive. You know, so that show of wealth, it really makes you want to have it. And then you now get it right. No. Get it quick. Fix, yes. So if you have a desire for microwave, fast food kind of riches, and what does it do? What does microwave and fast food do to the body? You know, it kills the system now. Fast food every day. Nothing organic. It will tell on your body. Obesity, different health challenges, and the next thing. So that is what happens when you also get riches through those kind of means. All right. And then for some, the last point on this, it may come like it's a protest for some of the challenges. So it's like you're getting back to the society by engaging in that. You know, I had one who actually spoke with me, and he was like, well, if he got a better job, he won't be doing what he's doing. And then some American lady who fell victim of a romance scam, I watched the video, and then the guy was saying, well, do you know where I live in Lagos? You know, there's no lights, you know, the kind of problems. What concerns her with all of that? But then, so it looks like you're protesting against the system, and you're justifying what it is, you know. But then, you can't judge them. Now, like I said, an understanding of all of this will help design programs which will be youth-focused and in turn contribute to the global fight against cybercrime. So what do we really need? What does this youth-focused approach really entail? I personally feel parents should be highly involved because they are the real foundation of any society. So good parenting should be rehashed so that our degraded morals and values will be at least revived. Of course, job creation, hoping that the government will be able to do much better, but also for us to realize that we don't sit and also fold our arms and wait for government all the time. There are still other solutions that we can step in with, you know, as young people. And I also think that the law enforcement, it would be good that we have examples, maybe use some of these parents and siblings as examples, not just focus on the offenders, on those who you just nab. There are times where you're able to link those perpetration or whatever it is called to the family members and all of that. Use them as scapegoats. It's much more, I think, likely to send a real good message to this so-called groups of mothers and siblings of Yahoo parents, Yahoo practices. Then early awareness on responsible online behavior, digital literacy, intentional mentorship. Now, I come to my conclusion. A youth-focused approach to tackling cybercrime involves the youth as a partner in the global fight against cybercrimes. It calls for active listening and a continuous one at that by African governments. So to listen to what matters to the youth now and in the future and taking steps after listening to it. Basically recognizing all of these challenges which we've identified that the youth faces in the digital age and engaging them to be a part of creating safer digital spaces. It can involve supporting youth-led cyber initiatives such as the CISED because they will infuse fresh perspectives that are needed to deal with the complexities of cybercrime. You know, like the AI in pain and gain. There's P, there's N, there's G, there's N, and in between is AI, artificial intelligence. So in it you have both pain and gain. There's the good and the bad side of it. So that's to say that the innovative capacities can help such that the gains of artificial intelligence are become the focus rather than the pains that are in it. Because as life improves, technology emerges, it is yet another opportunity for criminality as well. But this cannot be done except you understand the heartbeat of the young one. So a youth-focused approach in tackling cybercrime is not just about creating a skilled workforce. It's about shaping a mindset. I think one of the earlier speakers said it. I'm not sure if it was Frank or so, who said about something about mindset. Mindset that values digital stewardship. As these young minds grow to become leaders, entrepreneurs, innovators, their early exposure to digital literacy will create that responsibility in them. And this ripple effect can lead to a more conscious approach to fighting cybercrimes. Today, we stand united in our resolve to empower and equip the young minds of our continent with the knowledge, the skills, and the unwavering determination to tackle the scourge of cybercrimes head on. Let this gathering be a continued testament to our collective commitment to nurturing and harnessing the boundless potential of Africa's youth. Let it be a call to action, a rallying cry to mobilize our resources, our expertise, our unwavering support to create a cyber-resilient Africa, where the aspirations of young people can flourish unhindered by the specter of cyber threats. As we continue to commune together intellectually and otherwise for the rest of the hours that we have, let us be emboldened by the knowledge that we are not merely just charging ourselves as young people, but shaping the very course of our continent's digital destiny. Every speech, every expert insight, every networking opportunity represents a stepping stone towards a future where the youth stands as vanguards in the fight against cybercrime. To our esteemed speakers and industry luminaries, I implore you to share your knowledge generously, to inspire and to ignite the flames of passion within the young minds. For it is through your wisdom and experience that we can forge a path towards a cyber-safe Africa, where innovation and security coexist in harmonious synergy. To those of us who are in the academic, I call upon us to redouble your efforts, push boundaries of knowledge, nurture the intellectual curiosity that will fuel the next generation of cyber professionals. It is within the hallowed halls of learning that the seeds of tomorrow's cyber experts are sown. And back to us, because I'm not just talking to people, but I'm talking to myself also as a government official. To policy makers, government officials, we will continue to lead efforts that drive change and positive impact within the system. And to my very own beautiful, energetic, brilliant young minds assembled here today, embrace this opportunity with open minds and boundless determination. Let the knowledge that you acquire ignite a passion within you a passion to become the guardians of the digital realm, the custodians of trust, and the advocates of responsible online behavior. And as I wrap up this morning, I would like to state that the youth-focused approach to tackling cybercrime is a call for a shift from focusing on international cooperation as a tool in the fight as a main one, mainly because of the transnational nature of cybercrime. So yes, international cooperation is a tool, but then let there be a shift. Add another layer, which is to focus on intergenerational collaboration. It is very important. I commend the efforts of the organizers of CICED, organizers of Africa Cyberfest 2024. The energy is contagious. The passion is inspiring. We must not let it wane as we strive towards a cyber-secured Africa with a changed narrative. God bless you all. God bless Africa's youth. God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much for this opportunity and enjoy the rest of the hours. Thank you.
Louder!